Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting live from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're also brought to you this hour by Extreme Exteriors. Our guest right now is Director of Sales for Barron's Management Group, Irv Cohen. And Irv, right before we went to the break, we were talking about some of the issues that there were with homes in North Minneapolis over this last storm that were underinsured. And let's talk about, bring this back to homeowner associations. There are some very specific language, I think, in the state statute and most governing documents for associations when it comes to insurance coverage and what needs to be in place. Talk about this idea of 80% coverage or better, to give people an idea what that means.
Well, that's another. It's a great area to talk about, Gene. I will say this: the first thing in properly writing any insurance policy on a homeowners association is we need, as insurance agents, to read the documents, and clearly, right within those documents, it actually maps out for us specifically the kind of insurance that we need to cover. I have not ever seen, to answer your question specifically, I've never read a homeowner's document that didn't say the following: insure to 100% to the replacement cost of the buildings.
So the documents make it very clear what's needed.
That you're not going to underinsure.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is my cue to say, okay, we have to determine what that 100% to value is, and that's what we will go do. So we'll use all the mechanics of using building construction, square footage, location, and we'll run it through the computers, and it will give us a replacement cost per square foot. And we'll use that data then to help us establish a value. And by doing that, then I've met the requirements of the association.
Okay.
And so you also, insurance companies will also send someone out to also do sort of an appraisal of sorts, too, of the property as well.
Gene, that's a great question. We used to see that a lot, and I will share with you now, and over the last few years, we just don't see that as much anymore. In fact, on my largest properties across the country, we routinely, once every 4 to 5 years, we will hire an outside firm to come in and actually do a replacement cost appraisal.
Okay.
So you're double checking and keeping it up to date.
Just a double check. I mean, when you just want to. That's one level of comfort that all of us want to have.
Sure.
And we just don't want to be caught short.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, let's go back in the case of this Dolphin Towers in Sarasota. They had major buckling of concrete. Got to a point where I think city officials said it's not safe for people to live there. Folks had to be had to move out, and the insurance company saying we're not going to include this as a claim because they said that's not what we meant with all risk, and you talked about that. What do you see? I know this is just with our crystal ball here, but what do you see is going to probably happen in this particular case with Dolphin Towers?
My guess is this is one of several lawsuits happening all at once. I imagine there's a lawsuit against the contractors who built the property. I imagine there's a lawsuit against the contractors, the specific cement contractors. There may also be a lawsuit against the architects and engineers who drew up the specs for the buildings.
So everybody's going to be pointing fingers at someone else.
Absolutely, exactly.
To see if there's some
the insurance company is just, it's all part of that.
Sure.
And we see this. This is exactly the scenario we see. Attorneys are really good at suing anybody and everybody. And it's not a knock, but it's just reality of what occurs.
Sure.
Yeah.
My sense on this particular one is that it's probably not going to, it's not going to have legs, because too many places in the insurance policy, it specifically excludes cracking, settling, and it actually uses the word cement, walkways, sidewalks. So that policy language is fairly clear.
Okay.
Again, the return argument is, but it says all risks.
Yeah.
And, depending on the specifics of how the policy was sold, perhaps the agent literally said, hey, everything's covered. You don't have to worry about anything.
Oh, yeah.
Bite my tongue.
So if an agent had said that, frankly,
there could be some E&O insurance.
Part of the trial, I'm going to say the insurance company is going to be paying that loss.
Wow.
The agent is one of the two.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, let me ask a couple of things in regards to that, too. So when we talked about this, the insurance company did, in most cases, probably are very clear in what the exclusions are. And insurance, for our listeners, again, is to take care of a catastrophic event such as a hurricane, a tornado, hailstorm, fire. Items like that, but not for what happens over time, degradation of concrete, cracking, settling.
Right.
Those things happen over time, and that's not the purpose of insurance. But
insurance, you're right, Gene. Insurance just doesn't cover any of that, and you can't buy it. Just to keep your listeners on track.
Sure.
You just can't. You can't buy that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask one other thing in regards to that, and address this. A lot of times, people will take a look at. They'll have a claim, and unfortunately, what the builder or developer did years ago was not code, or was using things that was substandard. And the insurance company and the way insurance is written is to cover people to rebuild things the way they were. Talk about the issues there are if things weren't built quite correctly the first time.
Gene, you're opening up a whole can of worms, which is a great can of worms, and we'd have to take several segments to cover that topic. We do a lot of work with contractors.
Okay.
And you're absolutely right. There is an absolute process in place to how to deal with that, and I'll bottom line it for you. Typically, the way you just described the issue, insurance does not cover faulty workmanship.
Okay. All right.
So, there's a lot of there's exceptions to the rules, but generally, if a contractor comes out and does faulty workmanship, an insurance policy, that contractor's insurance policy, will not cover faulty workmanship.
Okay.
Unless, there's the big key, it will not pay for the faulty workmanship, but it will pay for the resulting damage that faulty workmanship created. And here's the best example. We see this all the time. A plumber installs plumbing. There's a water leak 6 months down the road. Okay, 6 months, the pipes break. The insurance company representing the contractor, that insurance company will pay for the resulting damage. So I got a flood as a result of it. So it will actually pay for the resulting damage. Will not pay to replace the pipe because that was faulty workmanship.
Okay. So
go ahead.
I was going to say, so faulty workmanship, that sounds like that would be covered under some kind of warranty rather than under someone's insurance policy.
It may be covered under a warranty. It may not be.
Okay. All right.
It may not be. Just, the insurance industry, just as a matter of course, just, you can't insure for faulty workmanship.
Sure.
But you can insure for the resulting damage.
Okay.
And that's critical because that gives all of us some, okay, great, the pipe is $4.95. And to have it fixed is, to have the labor is another $62.
Sure.
Great, I'll pick up that tab because the water damage, the flood, was $32,000.
Sure. Right.
Well, we're running out of time here. Irv, we thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to be with us, to weigh in on what happened down here in Sarasota, Florida. And I also want to just publicly thank you, too. You helped one of our clients just recently get some insurance, and they were very appreciative of all the work that you put in and did there for them. So many thanks. Before we let you go, how can people get a hold of you if they would like to?
Absolutely. Thank you, Gene. And I always enjoy being on your show. And you run a great organization as well. The phone number to get a hold of me directly is 612-436-5626. 612-436-5626.
And folks, that is Director of Sales of Barron's Management Group, Irv Cohen. Irv, thanks so much, and we will have you back soon to continue in on that can of worms that I opened up.
You did.
A little bit later.
Well, okay, great.
Thanks.
Bye, Irv.
You all have a great weekend.
All right, thanks. Well, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we've got just a lot more to cover, so don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.